welcome to the third episode. Hope you've been enjoying the other two for what it is.
So what we're going to talk about in this one is the Egyptian pyramid stuff, what they found, and what we were taught when we were younger, and then just have a wee chat about
kind of different theories on it.
What we think of that.
I'm up for that, mate.
Aye.
Hopefully get some of the facts right.
Aye, you know, who cares if we don't know?
Aye, that's what it is, mate. That's what it is.
So what they find, the 8 pillars.
8 pillars.
8 pillars leading down 650 metres with, it looks like coil.
Some people say it could be staircases maybe.
Aye. Because it's like underground radar, they can't really tell. It just looks like big cylinders going all the way down, leading to a massive structure underneath, which could be an underground city, an underground tomb. Nobody really knows yet, but kind of puts to bed all that. They built it with
slaves.
Aye. So that was what we were told. When we got brought up, it was pharaoh chambers or
pharaoh chambers, tombs, mummies, a few other things.
A monument to the gods as well.
What I heard as well, just be listening to a few things, supposedly they've never found like mummies in it, like mummies for that time period. There might have been people maybe that get caught in it years and years later and found mummies that way, but never for when, never mummies who it was meant to be for the pyramids. I never knew that.
No. Remember what they used to say how it was built? No, they used to say that it was all these thousands and thousands of slaves or people that worked for them, and they pulled it along with pulleys, no? These like thousands of miles away.
On bits of wood, rollers.
Trees.
I mean, no way.
Rolling along. No, so like the 2.5 ton boulders.
Aye. So we were kind of taking notes there. It was like, there you go, 6.2 million tons. 2.3 million individual blocks. I mean, for slaves in that time period, no way. No way.
It doesn't make any sense, does it?
No. And they still teach that, as obviously we get taught it in school, but they still teach that to this day.
I think the heaviest block is 80 tons inside the King's Chambers. I mean, how the hell did they move that?
No.
They can't even move stuff like that these days.
Modern
cranes
days.
And like big diggers and things like that. No clue how it could move.
I seen in Joe Rogan, like you were saying, the biggest brick they'd moved was what?
80 tons.
80 tons, and the biggest brick in modern day. They had to put cranes together to build a specific crane to move these bricks. And you can Google that stuff. I mean, see it yourself.
It's crazy all the stuff with it. They just made it out as if a bunch of people just shoved tons of blocks together and turned it into a big kind of triangle thing.
Even I think they would try to get that up the top.
I know.
Top of the pyramid, and now, I know recently, but they were saying they were using like water pulleys, like systems flooding water into somewhere with bricks on, say like a homemade raft, and letting the water in and back out, and it was just moving the bricks up at each individual kind of level. That would still take ages, mate.
I think the amount of water you would need to lift an 80 ton brick.
Obviously there was more lush greens maybe back then, which supposedly is meant to be a wee, no looking the way it's looking now, but it was kind of maybe lusher greens, maybe a lot water closer to it, but you look at it now, there's no water around about it.
I know the Nile was still there, wasn't it?
There you go.
Apparently it wasn't as big a desert.
Right.
Is that back then? Maybe a kind of place to stay, like I think the flood done something to that. Maybe into the desert it is. Apparently, I don't know, but
stuff we can even look up. You know what I mean? As it says, we don't really know too much about it for what we get taught in school. It's just an interesting topic that we're looking into. It feels like it will do more. You know what I mean?
It's the thing of the stars, isn't it? It's all like put under like the Orion's belt.
Yep.
You know, like all that stuff's kind of interesting. So they must have had some sort of knowledge about the stars and stuff like that, and astrology and things. You know, so
way more advanced than we were told anyway. You know what I mean? There's
Well, we think we're the best.
aye,
Thing.
top of food chain kind of thing.
Yeah. I think that they were more, they knew
Way
more.
more advanced, didn't it? Like Graham Hancock is on about obviously a lot of civilizations, a lot of them are talking about that, but there's obviously, what does he says, we're a species with amnesia or something like that, and there's definitely been lost knowledge there.
There's some sort of missing gap in our history.
And that's one of the things that they say could be in, we were talking about at the start there, what they just found with that, is it that SAR or something like that, the kind of radar they used for the satellite, there could have been, this is the City Hall of Records I was saying to you, and it talks about them on the Emerald Tablet as well.
I seen one that was saying there might be a tomb under it, like cacophis or something like that in there as well, but they're not quite sure obviously because it's only that imaging they're looking at.
I never knew that image, that's sound. See that image they've used on that radar thing, it's sound, that's what they've sent down there. I never knew that.
It's sonar kind of thing, obviously a bit more advanced, but some of the facts about the pyramids are crazy, aren't they? Like, for people when we used to get taught about them, it's as if we're more clued up than them. But if there was a soul that, I mean, they used to think the earth was apparently flat, but these people knew these math things like the height of the pyramid times 43,200 is the earth polar radius, and is it the base of the perimeter times 43,200 is the earth's equator circumference as well, which is,
how the hell did they
if
do that?
if they thought the earth was flat,
Aye.
why would they have these precise mathematical
things.
angles if they didn't know these things?
Aye, they definitely knew something that we didn't. Came for the aliens. Came for the aliens, mate. No, the Anunnakis.
There was something about the speed of light and all, wasn't it? Like
Aye, I think I wrote that down. Supposedly if you put the Great Pyramid in as a, I can't really see here, you put it in as a coordinate for longitude and longitude, I think it's called. It's the exact same numbers it's for the speed of light. If you give us a second, I'll find it. Here it's here. It says if you take the Great Pyramid as coordinates, this number sequence 29.9792455 north matches exactly the speed of light travelling through space, measured in meters per second, exactly that exact same number, with a decimal point moved to the right, which would be 299 stroke 79245 north. So how they do that, that's insane, mate. It's
I mean,
insane.
how did they know about the speed of light that we don't know now?
I know.
I mean, obviously they must have known the mathematical equation it.
Exactly.
Why did they know that? What did they use that for?
What was their purpose? I mean, for them to know that, what did they use it for?
What was the whole point? Why did they need to know like the exact thing of the speed of light for some reason? Like so. There's no way it was just a bunch of dudes dragging stains up.
No way. And they say it's that's coincidence. It's coincidence. No way, is that coincidence, man?
It just all happened to fall together like that.
Like the one we were talking about, the it's lined to pure like astronomical true north. Like, that's insane. The precision, like 3/60th of a millimetre.
I know.
Out for true north.
There's no little buildings today that are even like
that. No way. Like that's as I say, it's insane, man. How they knew that. And even in school, you never even get taught any of that.
No.
You know what I mean? You never even really get told about the speed of light thing. The thing we were saying about the blocks, how much they weighed, and as we were saying in school, we get taught the slaves done it. So them to build that, I took a wee note, for them to build that, this is it took them 20 years, and for them to do that, the slaves would need to drag them and put the blocks in every minute to 2 minutes a block would need to be put down
Aye,
for 15 to 20 years. And there's obviously the Great Pyramid's massive. There's 3 of them.
I know.
You know what I
Need
mean?
a tea break.
Mental.
They no eat.
I know. You think how many people would have probably passed on and all, so bringing slaves in from different areas obviously, and obviously I heard as well, the rocks that we're bringing in came from a canyon that was like mile, I don't know the right miles, but I should be getting this correct. The canyon or the mining place that we're getting these stones were miles away, and it says some came from across the water as well, brought in by boat. Like,
Well, they must have been
Come on.
chiseling them, sticking them, and then just like pure conveyor belt all the way on, like a non-stop.
there's no way camels were pulling them, or we with the sticks and stuff like that.
No.
No way.
No chance. Something's
Not right,
went
mate.
missing,
No.
isn't it?
There's a few theories where they say this is going into conspiracy theory kind of territory. It's like they used sound and matching the frequency of the rocks and stuff. So is it Graham Hancock or Randall Carson basically says the way we went for our technology, they might have separated and went down a different road.
A different angle of technology.
Before
was
the
thinking-
flood or something.
I was thinking, like, if the ancient people were a bit longer than us before there was some sort of world-changing event,
A reset.
then if they were a bit longer, how advanced did they get? I mean, look how advanced we got.
In the last 100
Aye,
years.
so how far did they get? Obviously, probably a different type of technology or something. But if they were a bit longer, moving forward the way humans do, then what kind of
What was the
advanced
progression
levels?
like?
What advanced level did they get to before whatever it was?
What
that's
happened?
blank to our memory.
Aye.
Yeah. So that's what I think anyway.
Amazing to go back and
That'd be
we were
good,
talking about a while ago, like if we had a time machine, what we would do in the time machine, where we'd go. Imagine going back and seeing that, actually how they done it. You know what I mean?
They were like that, floating them.
Oh.
Telekinesis.
Brilliant. It's like you forget the Sphinx and all. I mean, I was just listening to somebody talking there on YouTube about they believed it was a lion, rather than the face, and it was years and years later they kind of maybe changed it and stuff, and especially the Egyptians are all about symmetry. They believe that they carved it into looking like a face, but really if you look at the body, and we were talking about the equinox, it lines up with Leo, the constellation of Leo, and the sun rises right in front of the Sphinx's face.
I think it's the summer solstice, isn't it?
Aye. Definitely.
Aye,
So it could have been a lion, because
Looks
the
like a lion,
the
the
body, everything, and even that bit there, I know it's meant to be like the Egyptian kind of hat or whatever, could be the mane, and then they've carved it. Because the face isn't symmetrical on it, even if you had the nose, and then that's a different topic. You didn't believe they might have cut the noses and stuff like that. I thought, makes more sense being a lion.
Apparently there's a thingy, I know, a chamber underneath that.
I've heard in the left paw or something, and they sealed off the top of it as well. I've seen a guy parachute, a paraglide on the top of it, and there's like a metal tank hang on the top of it. It's been sealed in. No, like a manhole. It's one of them on the top of it as well.
It's
don't know
interesting
much
stuff.
about it. Definitely.
Interesting stuff.
You could go down rabbit holes all day with the Egyptian stuff. But it'd be interesting to see what this new stuff is with the.
I wonder if they'll let them dig.
I know. Supposedly there's governments chasing to get to, you know what I mean? And that Italian people who fund it, they've just done is that a conference, is that what you call it, a 4-hour conference, talking about what they think it was, freedom. It's all in Italian. That's it, I was watching a guy kind of translated it. I've not watched it all, but a lot of it is just speculation and what their theories is. It's no true facts.
It's no facts that
Aye.
they feed.
I think as I say to you, one of them says he thinks it's the city of the dead, stuff like that. But aye, interesting to see where the subject goes. You know what I mean?
I think it'd be funny if one of them just took off.
Mm-hmm.
He just powered
up, man.
Just powered up and was went, oh yeah, this guy.
Imagine that. You know what I
That'd be
mean?
so funny.
That guy is a pure spokesman for Egypt. He believes it's just pure slaves.
Aye.
He'd be like, oh, I'm wearing. It's Predator.
You know, and it just like spun and just flew into the sky. Aye, man. That was imagine that on the news.
I know. One
of the pyramids just took off and disappeared.
When you get it on the news, it'd been like Joe Rogan or something, wouldn't it? No.
Started beaming people up, not on the way.
That'd be so cool, mate.
Really, man.
No, that'd definitely be proof.
Shatter their thing, their theory, wouldn't it?
I think of the religion, I know.
You know.
Religion like that. Does it about it? Because that is one of the theories, isn't it? Aliens.
Aye.
Or Nephilim, you know what I mean? Stuff like
Yeah,
that.
I
Or
mean,
giants
you know
and
that.
stuff like that. Yeah, I love the story about the Anunnaki. Supposedly they created us and stuff. I love that.
I like it's like that Planet X theory.
Aye,
Or is it
Nibiru.
Nibiru? Right. That was
Nibiru.
quite looking into that for a while. We've been doing the
Aye, rabbit hole there.
Aye, that's mad, isn't it? Like, I say it comes around every so many years. Or
Aye.
every 1,000 years or whatever.
Aye, I love that stuff.
Aye.
I love all the alien stuff. I know what I mean, but
It's
obviously
just mad. It's on some of the hieroglyphs. It looks as if it's got like flying.
flying saucers, and there's ones that's got like a helicopter and stuff
Aye.
like that on the hieroglyphs. Yeah.
Definitely looks like there's some sort of flying thing going.
Mhm, definitely.
You never know, don't you know?
No.
I just think they were more advanced than we know.
Aye,
I
definitely.
don't know if it's like beings that have come down and shared
Aye.
technology or whatever. But I just think that either they were about a lot longer.
Way more advanced than we think.
They had a lot longer to move forward. Like us being about our kind of time being about for an hour.
100 or maybe more.
10,000 years, I think, where we would get to. Like,
Aye.
I think it's been like that, where they've got to a certain point and they're a lot more advanced than we know.
It's like Elon Musk calls it like a type 10 civilization. I'm not saying that's what the Egyptians were, but there's like, they call them different levels of
Aye.
civilization. It's to say that civilization wasn't 10 times more advanced than we were. You know what I mean?
Especially if they
It was
used
massively advanced. You know what I mean? Not
Especially if
just
they used-
hunter gatherers, like
Aye.
the way they say this, like they craft these stones with
Aye.
chisels and.
Chisels and all that.
Come on, man. I mean, I was telling you about Göbekli Tepe as well.
Aye.
Like, see, that was hunter gatherers, and then they changed themselves, changed the kind of theories on them, because it's agriculture and stuff like that. They were just gardeners and stuff. But there's something not right there, because I think that's just as maybe not as old as the pyramids, but I think it's like up there with tap-free monolithic structures, and that's crazy.
No, I don't get why they try and cancel that out, that theory that it was longer. What would be the goal of that? Why would they want to discredit that like, rather than just trying to prove it wrong, if you know what I mean? They just saying, oh no, that's not right.
I think it's because there's so much money went into it and stuff
So
like
much
that.
history.
Is it Joe Rogan calls it the arcade, no, the Arcadian. He calls this archaeological company. I can't mind called academia or something. He calls it. They're kind of the ones that discredit Graham Hancock and stuff like that.
That's what I was watching, and they were saying that he was getting like discredited and called crazy and all that stuff, just because he was maybe thinking that there's a part of our history we don't know.
Aye.
And it's worth checking out.
Looking into.
What's wrong with that?
That's what scientists do. I know he's not a scientist, and as you say, he does get discredited, but he's looking outside the box at other theories.
Is that not what they're meant to be doing? Rather than just
true scientists doing it.
Sticking to the one thing all the time. It's as if they don't want you to know.
Aye.
For some reason.
That's it. What's the reason? I mean, I'm not saying is it the elites and stuff like that, but what is the reason? Is it takes to say, don't want to be wrong? I mean, but it would shows that. I think it would open up so many doors for new archaeologists who are in that field to go, this is interesting, and it would encourage younger people to maybe go into it to say there's lost history here that can be
fine.
Aye, that'd be
Unless
amazing.
they know and we were just like hybrids for another planet. They don't want us to know.
Aye, man. For the Palladians and shit like that, innit? The Nornax or something, the Nordics or something.
They already know that we just dropped us off here.
Aye.
Can't be bored with them.
I know. Especially when that Billy Carson goes on about, I was telling you about the kings, they lived for hundreds of years and then all of a sudden our DNA was kept.
Aye.
I mean, with some sort of interference. It's just
Aye, it's
pretty
a
cool thing to look into, you know,
a
but
missing thing or something, wasn't it? I can't remember. I remember.
they say that's what our junk DNA is.
Aye.
I mean, it could be tapped into.
I thought the thing he was saying about, like the gold. No, like, have you ever heard him talking about that?
The Anunnaki using the gold to hang with their planet.
Aye, and
They
that's
used
why-
us to mine them.
That's why we're all into like gold and
Mhm.
diamonds and stuff.
Obsessed with it.
Aye.
I think he says the Anunnaki brought this other race out called the Agigi,
Aye.
and they uprised.
Mad names.
I know, they uprised against the Anunnaki, and Anunnaki kind of wiped them out and used their DNA, the Anunnaki DNA, with early humanoids, and then that's what created us. At first it never worked, and it says it created these titans and stuff and these giants, and then it says they used the same DNA, and they call it the clay of the earth, which is just like humans. It says that in the Bible, and all clay of the earth, and they put it inside a female Anunnaki, and that's what created Adamu, which is like Adam, and then they done it again, which created a lassie called, or another being called Evelyn or something, and his last name's like Eve. It's like Adam and Eve kind of thing.
Same kind of idea. All these stories are coming from somewhere, aren't they?
Aye.
So if you look at all different religions or different whatever, you see that they all kind of have the
Resemble
same
something.
kind of, maybe not the same names and the
Aye.
exact same story, but they all show floods. They all show.
They all mentioned floods.
Aye, they all mention like big cataclysms and kind of all these. It's like they all kind of resemble.
Point to something like that, like the book of Enoch. It's not in the Bible. It's not within the Bible. Talks about these Nephilims, these giants, these races, like David and Goliath and stuff like that. I think with them being myths, there's obviously some sort of truth in it.
It's
like,
they said that's more how they told stories back then, kind of symbolism and
Aye.
drawings and
The Indians and that still do it.
Aye, so it's like it's a different way of storytelling, kind of.
Yeah. It's like the way your modern day version that would be like the Bigfoot,
Aye.
stuff like that. You know what I mean?
And the kind of myths like the Loch Ness monster and
Aye.
stuff like that.
Like Wolfman and all that. So that would be like our kind of folklore, but I'd imagine back then.
Imagine like in thousands of years they found like a book. It's like a Dracula book.
Aye.
Oh my god.
They had vampires back then. Aye, they found the Twilight book.
Demons.
They found Twilight or something.
What the hell was going on back there?
Let's go. Go some time
they're
capsule.
all
Some
worshipping
kids
it,
put it in
like-
their back garden.
Somebody just wrote it. They found it like 10 million years ago now, and they're looking at pictures and I think that's where we came to vampires.
That's Edward guy.
Aye, I know.
The Valkyrie.
He shined in the sun.
Brilliant.
They're all building shit up. Big Edward statues.
Yeah, well, that's what could have happened back then, mate.
So he could be doing that.
Oh. It could have been some disformity way back then and done that. He's a like giantism or something they call it nowadays when somebody grows pure tall. Maybe that was the way back then. It was just mere common.
And people just wrote about it and made mad
I
stories.
knew somebody for the village. Big Jimmy for the village.
Big Jimmy the Giant.
7 foot giant. 6 fingers, 6 toes. Interesting stuff. I'll tapping into that, mate. No.
You never know, but then you know it's.
I know.
Oh, aye. It's quite funny.
Right.
But I definitely think it's something different with the pyramids. You never know, do you know?
No. We wonder now, see when the days start, maybe if the days start digging into it, I wonder if they'll tell us.
Aye.
You know what I mean? But maybe a bit they find. You know what the government like and stuff like that. I wish they would just let some independent people do, like somebody like Graham Hancock. I know we mentioned him a few times, but somebody like that you would maybe trust. You know what I mean? Or,
You don't trust them to tell you then?
No.
They hide everything.
there's a guy I've been listening to, he does the pyramid codes. I might be getting his second name wrong. His name's Jason Schuckert, I think, or Schuckert.
He was on that redacted.
It was on Redacted. He's quite interesting. He was interviewing a guy with the TLS. It's an organisation that does that. I think it's called True Light System or something. Independent group. But he was talking about something underneath the pyramids. 4 years ago he was talking about it, after getting passed on. You ever heard of the CIA document about the pyramids?
No.
And they talk about the Ark
Oh,
of the
the Ark of the
Covenant and stuff like that.
I seen that. That was quite interesting.
Aye,
There was apparently big beings guarding it and stuff.
entities and stuff.
Aye.
That'd be interesting to maybe follow that subject as well.
We learn it and talk about that.
Definitely, these kind of subjects you can go all day with.
I
You know what I mean? Or
Because
whatever
there's so
you
many-
think, write in the comments
Aye.
and a subject you would like us to look into, and we'll do our homework and hopefully get some videos of it.
Aye, look into it for you. Being our own crazy thoughts about it, no?
Aye. Aye, the Covenant man will be good. I mean,
Yeah,
I didn't know
was
much
that-
about that.
I think that was that no Alexander the Great or something that had,
Right.
supposed to have had that?
Aye. I know they says it was in Ethiopia, but it supposedly might have been a replica.
Aye.
Oh.
I don't know.
Is that who it was?
I don't know, I'm not 100%, I think
Right, look into it.
on Moses or something.
Right.
Moses, I think.
Right.
I don't know.
He had it or knew what it was.
That's where it's meant to came from.
Right.
I'm not sure if it was Alexander the Great, to be honest.
Right.
Pretty sure it was meant to be Moses or something. But
Right.
you need to look into it.
Right. Imagine the CIA, if what
I
people
know.
having documents and that stuff.
Uh-huh.
It just shows you just chasing power in it.
Aye.
I mean,
Yeah,
especially.
that's what it is.
Mhm.
When you think about all the fighting that's going on down there, like, why is it always down there?
Yeah.
You know?
And even when they first hang with Afghanistan, supposedly the museums down there get raided as well, and they took artefacts for there and
Destroyed a lot of it as
Mhm.
well.
and where it meant to be the Covenant thing again, meant to be in some sort of I don't know if it was a mosque underneath the ground of a mosque or something. Could be wrong with that, but it's Middle East again, Afghanistan. But a lot of people say with that Jason guy, says the distraction was saying it was in Egypt. A lot of stories says it was in Egypt, but he believes that was a replica, as I says. But the CIA document says it's under some sort of mosque, a domed mosque under the ground, Afghanistan or somewhere like that. But
Yeah.
that's another story to kind of keep an eye on.
You do look that up to see
Mhm.
where the
Origins
origins
came
of it came from. I always thought it was Moses and something
Right.
to do with Alexander the Great, but
Right.
not 100%.
Like him invading like cities and countries and maybe got it.
I'm not sure.
Do you believe the story that anybody goes near it, it does something to them? No,
Aye.
they says that when people were carrying it from one city to another and they were falling ill or
Aye.
dying instantaneously and
That's
stuff
how
like
people think it's some sort of energy.
Yeah,
because
energy
they
thing.
needed to wear certain.
that.
Like
Carried it with his poles
Aye.
and sticks,
we
wasn't it?
need to wear
Yeah.
gloves if we're touching with like electricity and that. The same kind of idea.
Is that like radiation maybe?
Aye, and like, see how you would wear gloves for hot stuff, like with the heat and all that, like in the electricity.
Maybe they were
Does it
saying
go
that then.
through rubber?
Rubber,
or
eh?
that, like the same kind of.
Idea.
That's what it's meant to. Well, so they say. You don't know, obviously.
It's every picture, every story you hear, they always say about the metal rods getting
Aye.
placed into it. It takes
They all look the same pictures.
Aye, the kind of humanoid eagles at the top. It's
Aye.
like humans with wings of an eagle, I think the description was. You know, it's amazing the kind of stories. You know what I mean? And
You wonder how it got lost through time.
Mhm.
Like, obviously, things get destroyed and different countries turning into different countries.
Aye,
and
war.
try to keep it for themselves and all that kind of stuff. But it's mad that it still filters out
Aye.
wee bits here and there.
Again, we were saying like stories have myths with a bit of truth to it. And
Kind of gone down through the
generations.
generations and time.
Even if they found something like that, do you think they would ever disclose
I
that?
don't
You
think
know
so.
what I mean? No.
We would never know about
Never, never. Unless it was
They're
we're
not
in
gonna
the,
say-
we're in the generation of whistleblowers.
Aye.
So you never know. We might get some sort of
Somebody just.
snippet or taking a photo of you,
Aye,
and all of
somebody
a
just
sudden
saying.
they disappearing,
Aye, never seen her again.
getting took out.
No, definitely not going to fucking just say, oh, it's here, look.
I know, show you. I mean, is it not saying in the Bible it'll show itself in the end of
Aye.
days or something?
Aye, when the time's right,
Right,
right say,
something.
or the right person or something.
Can open it.
Aye.
That's what it was.
Aye.
Says that in that document.
Aye. So that's how it was saying if anybody tried to open it or go near it, they would die or whatever.
Face the consequences.
Aye.
No? But what was interesting, he says there a minute ago, is that in that document it mentions the entities and the beings.
Aye.
What's that? I mean, is that like the government saying, oh, aliens are true, or is it just, is that a spiritual thing? You know what I mean? Is it like, I don't know, how to describe that? You know what I mean? How do they know that?
I kind of picture that bit never ending story.
Right, I've heard them saying that.
He's trying to get past and then fucking.
I can't remember. I remember the film, but I can't remember what they were saying. I know
two
that.
big angels stand at each side.
Right.
He's got to run past, and anybody that's no worthy gets
Right,
took out.
right. Something you go back and watch. I loved that as a kid too. You know what I mean?
Now you see it now, it looks pure.
Cheesy.
Well,
Is that the one who, right? He's flying on the big flying duck kind of thing. Never ending story, eh? I'll need you can maybe go back and watch YouTube and see that. But I know somebody else that meant. I don't know him personally, but I think I've watched something that says never ending.
I've seen it. It's picture. That was on.
Right.
Was it no one?
With that.
Was that woman?
She says that he's misses, doesn't she?
Aye.
Aye, that's mental. But how does it see how you know that? Like entities and beings? That means like maybe they've had a glimpse of it or they went to get near it.
They say to use that thing.
Remote viewing.
Remote viewing, where is it? You go to sleep.
The
thinking,
self, they give
consciousness goes other places.
coordinates, but it's not just you just lying there, they have things that go in your head. $20 million they spent way back in 60s, 70s and 80s. They used that a lot back then. Some people had the ability to do it and some people didn't. I don't know if you believe in it, but there's a lot of money went into remote viewing, you know, and astral projection and stuff like that. That's quite interesting stuff.
I know I've seen some of the tests that they done where they were trying to get other people to see their dreams.
Right.
You know, like they would try and think about things and the other person would try and like either draw it.
Right.
So
Or send it to them in their head,
them.
right. I know they gave them coordinates and it was like army bases or military experiments, and I think they gave somebody a coordinate that was on Mars as well. You know, and the guy or the woman says it was off planet, you know, and just couldn't really pinpoint where. But even to say that coordinates that planet's quite smart. I know they tested kids way back then. I think it's called Project Gateway. I could be wrong in that, but I know they took certain kids through schools and gave them tests on that, and certain mathematical tests and like geometry things as well. And we're testing certain kids. I think it was like North America, something like that. I'm sure it's called Project Gateway. So it could be wrong in that.
Some of the mad stuff's crazy. And you don't know what they know, don't you? Know all these things. What's true, what's no.
That's another thing that'd be good today. See, I was saying you could go to the CIA.gov. You can go on and look at all the unclassified operations projects they've done back then, like Paperclip, stuff like that, Stargaze, all that's quite interesting.
It'd be mad to know some of the things that they found out.
Aye, it's like the patterns, you can go on and look at the patterns, like how many people have made cars running water and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
They don't want out.
Anti-gravity, non-propulsion systems and stuff, like some of the patterns is crazy, and then these people just either get paid off or disappear.
Right, never to be seen.
Definitely, man. How was your holiday, seeing the things in Rome?
Aye, it was good.
The Colosseum, bit of Maximus.
Aye, bit of Maximus. I was raging I couldn't pick up the sand.
I know, I was telling the missus about it. No.
I was gutted that I wanted to.
I wanted to see the video you doing it, no, because I posted it, you going.
I wanted to do the fucking sand in the hand, but well, you couldn't go down.
Right.
Obviously. Smell like a museum and everything else, but it was still good to go in.
Aye, definitely memories, isn't it?
A lot bigger than I thought, see when you're going up to it.
Right.
When you see it on telly.
Just or in films and stuff, documentaries and stuff, you don't get the true size of it.
It was giant compared to what you
would think it is.
Some of the things in Rome were just crazy, like the buildings, like as I said to you earlier, it was like ancient world just dumped into
the
modern world dumped into the ancient world. Some of the statues and the buildings were unbelievable.
Aye, the photos you showed me, statues were beautiful. As I said, like Sistine Chapel. Great pictures and that.
The thing about the Sistine Chapel was when you're under it, it looks 3D.
You're saying that,
but
photos didn't really do justice, but obviously
it's
like that.
Closer, you can see it's painted, but it looks as if it's
like it's in frames and
like
stuff.
a frame that's been put in the wall.
That's what I was asking you, like how are they all paintings that have been put up, or if they built their way up, maybe created some wooden scaffolding and painted it up there, which is that's amazing. Even to think that's we were saying, try to paint your ceiling in your room. Like try to sit and paint like that. It's unbelievable. You know what I mean, and that's all painted by Da Vinci. Am I right with that?
There's all different
artists.
I think is it Michelangelo?
Michelangelo, that was all I was trying to think. Say it cost to Michelangelo. I think they handpicked people, like great artists back then, and
I think they did. Obviously the best artists at the time and stuff, but as I say, it was
a privilege, wasn't it?
Some of the big fountains. I think it's Tevi fountains.
Right.
That was like just a big fountain in the middle of the city. It was huge. You know? I was looking at it. I was like, how did they manage to carve that? Well, it's unbelievable.
Even back then, that's only like a couple of 100 years. Like even to make statues like that, you know what I mean? Unbelievable how they'd have done that. Like, I wish they would do documentaries showing how they actually done stuff like that, and instead of lying, and actually show you how it's done. I mean, because some of it looks like it's been cut lasered. Like I was thinking about the teardrop one and all that. That blew my mind, mate.
So hingy and detailed for. You couldn't take a chisel, could you? Or maybe you could, I don't know. But
like sanding, with semi-polishing kind of thing. I mean, but teeth ever to do that.
It says there was the guy who was taking us back to the airport was shown as it's a big monolith thing that they took for Egypt when Romans conquered Egypt. And they just stole their monolith, took it and stuck it in the middle of Rome. It's something you used to carry back.
They monoliths are amazing how they done that back then, I know. I mean, you get some at about 100 feet, maybe more than that. 16 ton. You know what I mean? Like,
it's just like busting into the city and just saying, keep that monolith.
Taking that aim.
Taking that out and sticking it in the middle of your city.
What was the reason for them doing? Just because they conquered it and just took it to see how it's theirs and took it back to Rome?
Took it back to Rome and they put it outside one of the big chapel. I think it's St John's Chapel, which is the big chapel of Rome, because obviously Vatican is separate. So the actual Rome, the chapel of Rome, St John's, I think.
It's outside the Vatican.
It's in Rome, but no in
the
Vatican City.
City.
It's separate. It's Vatican City. It's like different rules and stuff. I don't know.
Got their own police and that you were telling us.
They looked it reminded me of like the guards on the palace.
Right.
The Buckingham
Palace.
Right. The guards and like you could tell the royal guard. It's kind of like that. They had that kind of uniform.
Obviously no the hat. What colours the uniform?
Dark blue and red, but you could just see the difference between them and like.
Like you see in the Tom Hanks movie, like the Da Vinci Code, and that when he's getting chased.
You see the red.
Wee white gloves and stuff.
Like that. You could just see the difference between the Roman police and the Vatican police.
You've seen it with some size as well.
It was giant, and the city itself.
It's annoying when you see it in films and documentaries. You don't get the true value of the size of it. You know what I mean?
It took us all day just to even get it. I mean, we only went in there straight up to the Vatican and then done the wee tour of the Vatican, but that took us all day. You would have to do the whole city itself. Would probably take you another extra day
or whatever.
Just obviously too many ends to go to.
Recommend it to people.
Aye, if you're into that kind of thing, or old history and stuff. It's pretty interesting.
I like stuff like that, so I would like to go to maybe Greece and stuff like that. Look at the history of that.
So that's even older. That's where kind of Rome came from as well, isn't it?
I mean, you kind of get not taught that, but you kind of learn that as you go getting older in movies, and you kind of learn about Thor and Hercules, maybe not Thor, sorry, like Hercules and all that, Zeus and all that,
like the old philosophers, like Socrates
and
Plato and all that. And I think the Rome kind of descended down for them, didn't they? Like into the Roman Empire.
Right, did it? I'd be good to go and see stuff like that. I mean, that's annoying. You could go into topics all day, like the history, all that stuff. You know what I mean? Even if you were going to the myth side, like the Titans and all that, like so much fun.
I know. It's just there's so much in there. Like what's that guy that get one of them Egyptians, the Greek myths where he died every day. And is it Icarus?
No, Icarus is one that flew too close to the
Aye.
sun.
Still
Right.
right.
Is there one that passes every day?
Aye,
Right, right.
punishment for Zeus or something.
Right,
I
right.
can't remember what he done, but
If you know who it is, leave it in the comments.
aye, he done the something Zeus punished him to die of the same way every day.
Every day.
Aye, I think it's in the God of War games.
Right.
Aye.
Oh, I need to have a look at that.
Yeah, I was thinking that's crazy, isn't
Aye.
it?
It's some punishment, isn't it?
Aye. Zeus. Not messing around anyway.
Aye, man. Pure bosses are bosses.
Yeah.
That's something definitely we could look into and stuff like that.
Aye.
I'd like to see that, read up on that kind.
Aye.
Even like all the Titans and all that, like the what do you call it, the Hydra? No, the Hydras. Is it a Hydra? Like the thing you cut the head off it, and
Aye.
all one goes, Medusa and all that.
Aye.
You know?
I remember reading about Medusa in school.
So
Yeah,
that
with
same.
the turns you into stone and
Mhm.
stuff.
And you see it in movies and all
Aye.
that and all. Yeah, I didn't really know what a Hydra was until like the Captain Americas and
Aye.
obviously the Clash of the Titan kind of films and stuff like that. And,
Was that in Greek mythology too?
is that what Clash of Titans is?
I don't know. I was
Eh,
thinking. I kind
It's in that, it's like the dragon thing. It's in the Percy Jackson movies and that and all. It's
Mm.
like a dragon thing with 3 heads or 5 heads.
Aye.
It's in the Captain America and all.
I was just thinking, is it
I don't know if it's Greek.
Greek or
I
whatever?
don't know. If it ties in with Medusa and that, it could possibly
Right.
be, or they just threw that in the movies just
Aye.
because it's a cool looking
Right.
enemy.
Right, so just throw in a Hydra.
Be like Cyclopses and stuff like that. Will we tell them that we're thinking about going a hill walk and showing them a
Aye.
bit of Scotland as well?
Aye, because I think we'll finish up soon, mate, but that's what we're going to be doing that on Saturday.
Right, one of the Monroes.
Aye, as in Scotland we call it Monroes, I think it's on a certain height.
It's like height.
We'll just take some videos on the way up, post them on,
Do some shots.
give you some views of kind of no far from where we stay.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully it's a good day.
Aye, since it's been alright.
Aye.
No, that we'll
Aye.
get to Saturday and it'll be pouring down.
Aye, it'll start
No,
raining.
so if it's pouring, then we'll be posting it.
We only get a 2 week summer.
If that goes well, we could win up towards when we go to work and stuff. We
Aye.
get Wallace Morgan and stuff like that.
Aye, let us know if you would like to see some of the Scottish like castles and monuments and stuff, because we could do that as well.
We've got a few round about us,
Aye.
haven't we?
Some history of Scotland in it.
Definitely. Interesting bit of William Wallace, no?
Aye, that's it,
Aye.
of course. That's our
No,
hero.
sorry, English. Nah, I'm up for that, definitely. And if there's any other topics you would want us to look at, maybe leave it in the comments.
Leave it in the comments. Any kind of Scottish thing you would like to see, let us know. I think that'll finish up there.
Aye, comment, subscribe, do us a favour and hit the thumbs up.
Aye.